Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Liana on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode.
Welcome back to this new episode. I hope you all have a good day so far, or had a good day. I thought I'd start with a little life update. Jules and I went out for dinner the other day, lunch, because it was our 3 years anniversary, and it was the last anniversary before we're getting married. So exciting. And we went to the venue. We had lunch at the venue that we're going to get married, so that was so special. We actually haven't been on a date for a while now. I don't know, life was just too busy, and we prefer to stay in on the weekend to just have a chill night. And then we also went to a wedding one weekend. So yeah, we haven't really had like a date night. So I mean, that was lunch, so a date day kind of. And that was really nice. I wore this black dress that I asked you guys on Instagram, which one should I wear? And all of you, or like not all of you, but most of you, like literally I think 80% said the black dress. So I wore that one and I felt a little bit overdressed, but then I was like, you know what? You don't dress up often, and why not? Like, don't save anything for a special occasion. If you want to wear the dress, wear the dress. And I really wanted to wear the dress. I don't know the last time I wore that dress. I found it when I was in Germany. I found it in my wardrobe because I had still so many clothes in Germany. And I was like, yes, I want to wear that one. And so that was really special. And here's also your reminder to, not save anything for a special occasion, wear what you want to wear. And it was really special to go out for lunch and us just having like a date night. I don't know, I feel like, yes, when you're at home, you're together and you have dinner together, but it's just different going to a restaurant and really like sitting down, like talking, like when you're at home, it's just different. So yeah, I really enjoyed that and really could like visualize our wedding, like being at our wedding venue, like just thinking about, wow, like in a year's time, we got married here, like, because it's April now. So it was just really, really special. And then the rest of the day, like we went out for lunch at 2, and then I think we were home by 4, and it was a rainy afternoon. And we watched a movie. We had I made an feijoa crumble for the first time. If you're not from New Zealand, you probably never have tried feijoas before. Absolutely love feijoa. So was really happy that I made a feijoa crumble, I think the day before. So we had like feijoa crumble with warm vanilla custard, so good. And we just watched a movie. We watched Brothers in Arms, which was actually quite good, and had just a really chill afternoon. And honestly, at 6 p.m, because it's getting dark now earlier, at 6 p.m, I had the feeling it was 9 p.m. But the thing was as well, I played football that morning, and I think I played almost 90 minutes, and I was just so tired. I think I went to sleep at 9 p.m. But yeah, it was the perfect Sunday. Had so much fun playing football and had so much fun at our lunch date. And here's just your reminder to do those special things, to celebrate anniversaries, or even if it's not an anniversary, to have like a date night or just celebrate life. Honestly, I feel like life rushes too fast, and it's so important to make time for these things. Even like a date night, you don't have to go out for dinner or lunch. You can also just organize something else, like cook something at home and go somewhere. If it's summer where you are, or spring, go outside and have a picnic or something. Or even here in New Zealand, where it's getting into winter now, you could even, like here in Hawke's Bay, drive up the peak and sit in the back of the car, or sit in the car and have like a sunset dinner. I mean, sunset's now at 6, before 6, or it would be an early dinner, but just to do something special. It's so important to not get like caught up in the daily grind and hustle and whatever, and make time for these things. I want to ask you a few questions, or kind of want to say a few statements, and I was wondering if you ever said this before. So something like, if I start my own business, I won't be able to take much leave or holidays because I have to work on my business. Or if I start the new hobby, I won't be able to make time for my friends. Or if I go to this dinner party, I won't be able to get up early tomorrow. Or for example, for me, if I move to New Zealand, I won't be able to stay in touch with all my friends. Or if I give this a go, I won't be able to do X, Y, Z. Have you ever said something like this before? And I'm pretty sure you did, because we all do. We say like, if I do this, I won't be able to do that. I don't know if you notice, but you are literally limiting yourself. You are limiting what's possible for you. You are literally telling yourself, you won't be able to do this. Like, once you do that, or if I do this, I won't be able to do that. You are creating your reality. I said this before, like every thought you think, every limiting belief you tell yourself, everything you tell yourself, you are creating this as you are creating this as your reality. So basically, you telling yourself before it's even happening, if I do this, I won't be able to do that. I said this before, and I'm going to say this again. Like, first of all, who said that? Who said that if you do this, you can't do that? It's probably someone in the past that you met along the way, or like someone of your friends, or someone from your family maybe has done this before and then wasn't able to do X, Y, Z, or something you saw on TV or something you saw on social media, whatever. Like, you picked that up. You picked that limiting belief up somewhere. So who said it? And also, who made the rules? Who said when you do this, you can't do that? Like, I feel like this is such an important question to ask ourselves every time we limit ourselves. Who said it? And is it even true? Do I want this to be my reality? Who made the rules? Who said I can't have X, Y, Z if I do that? Really ask yourself, why am I thinking this? Where did I pick this up from? For example, if I want a career, I can't have a baby right now. Or if I have a baby now, I won't be able to get back into my career. Or if I have a baby now, I won't be successful. Or if I want to be successful, I can't have a baby. Especially as women, like, why do we think that? Because 50 years ago, it was that way. Or even 30 years ago, maybe it was that way. But we're living in a world that's so different. So it isn't just stupid to hang on to those things that our grandparents told us, or our parents. Nothing wrong with listening to our parents' advice, but we're living in a totally different world, and we have so many different possibilities nowadays. So I think that's a really good example. If I want to be a mom, I can't be successful. If I want to be successful, I can't be a mom. If I want to have a good career, I can't have a baby. Like, I feel like that's just a really good way to explain this. Or if I want to be present with my kids, I can't have a business, or whatever it is you're telling yourself. I think you get what I want to say. And it's the same probably, I'd already talked to Jules about it, but it's the same when you have kids. You probably think, oh, once I have kids, I want to have time for myself. I think this is already you programming yourself that it's going to be that way, instead of trying to find solution, instead of starting to talk to your partner about it and say like, hey, look, I hope like one day when we are blessed to have children, I hope that I can like take like an hour out of the day, or even like 20 minutes, and grab myself a coffee and just enjoy the coffee. Like, even like talking about these things beforehand will create your reality, will open up possibilities, because you talked about it and you know that somehow this will be possible. I mean, I can't speak from experience. I don't have kids yet, and we have lots of kids in the family, so I know how busy it is. But I feel like talking about it beforehand and doing that will really help. And also, like, you know how some people say like, once you have kids, your life ends. But like, a lot of people say like, oh, wait until you have kids. And then I feel like, yes, there might be hard days, and I can't speak from experience, and I don't want to say anything wrong, but I just feel like you should shift your mindset around this and say like, once we have kids, life is going to start, and we're going to experience life in such a different way, which is so beautiful. But yeah, with anything in life, not just like family, not just having kids, but I just feel like that's a good example, especially for us women. Like, if I want to have a child, I can't be successful. I feel like that's like such a big mindset thing a lot of us still have, because we got programmed that way, because we got told that when we were younger, because of our parents or our grandparents or whatever it is. And we definitely have to shift that. And that's with, like I said, with anything in life. So even if, let's say you want to start a new hobby. Let's say football, example. I started playing football and my Sundays are now, the mornings are now for football games. And I could have been like, oh, if I start playing football, I won't be able to enjoy my weekends anymore. Or if I play football, I won't be able to do anything on Sundays anymore. And that's not true, because I know, like, I literally did it last week and I had a football game, and then I went out for lunch and had a really good afternoon. Even though I was tired, I still had a good afternoon, and that's because I knew that I could do that. And I feel like often we kind of try to find excuses why we can't do something, or tell ourselves, if I do that, I can't do that. I think we really have to get to the root of why do we think that, or are we telling this ourselves? Are we looking for excuses? Are we looking for a way why we can't do something? This is also really important. Are we trying to find an excuse why we can't do both? And that's actually so stupid, because that means we're limiting ourselves, and we shouldn't limit ourselves. We are limitless. Like, we can achieve great things if we put our mind to it. Like, our mind is just so powerful. And I feel like, therefore, it's so important that whenever we catch ourselves saying, if I do this, I won't be able to do that. Why are we saying this? Like, who's this coming from? Who told us that? Who made the rules? And why are we using this as an excuse? Because maybe we're using it as an excuse. If I do that, I can't do that. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, so it will get into your subconscious mind. Did you know that every thought that you think creates your reality? Every thought you think creates the chances, the opportunities, possibilities for you. Every thought that you think creates what you believe is true and possible for you. Every thought you think either closes doors or opens doors. So if you think, oh, I will never be good at this, you will never be good at this. Or if you're telling yourself, who am I to do a podcast on YouTube? Guess what? You will never do a podcast on YouTube. You will never find the opportunities. This is actually a good example of me, because I started my podcast on Spotify, and then people came up to me and be like, oh, your podcast is not on YouTube. And how do you, even my soon-to-be sister-in-law asked me, how do you do podcasts on YouTube? I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like it's too complicated. I've never done it before. And then after I said this, I was like, or like a few days later, I was like, I never looked into it. Why am I saying it's too complicated? And I also said something like, I don't have the right equipment. And I was like, why am I saying I don't have the right equipment? I actually do have a microphone, because I upload episodes on Spotify. I do have an iPhone where I could record myself with. I otherwise also have a camera. Like, where's this excuse coming from? And I looked into it and I was like, it's actually super easy to create a podcast on YouTube. And why shouldn't I create a podcast? And I'm so grateful that I did, because my last episode has over 500 views already. And I'm like, imagine I would have never posted it on YouTube. I would have never reached that many people to listen to what I have to say, and hopefully help people with their mindset and live a happier and more fulfilling life. So you get what I mean? Like, as soon as you tell yourself that something is not possible, you miss out on so many amazing opportunities. Luckily, I catch myself when I say those things. And I was like, when I said like, oh, it's too complicated to do a podcast on YouTube, I was like, Johanna, why are you telling yourself that? Like, who told you that? And why do you think that? Like, your life looks so different right now. I think before maybe I was like, oh, it's too much work, but I literally have the freedom right now to do that. And I'm like, man, you're telling all these people to listen to your thoughts, and then you have this limiting thought coming up. And I changed it, and I started this, and I'm here, and you're watching this. So yes. I want to share some more examples about things we tell ourselves that might not be true. So let's say either in a friendship or in a relationship, you are somehow a little bit sad and you don't really know what it is, but something feels off. And the best thing is to talk about with that person, whether it's a friend or your partner, to talk about it. And way too often, like, these things happen because of misunderstanding. So communication is key. It's because we picked up something that person said and we interpreted. Is that how you say it? into a different reality, or we took it in a different way, because here's the thing, all of us have different realities and we pick up things differently than the person actually means it. That's just how sometimes it works. Like one person says something but the other person hears something totally different, and that's when misunderstandings happen. And that's why it's so important to just openly communicate about these things, about misunderstandings, and say like, hey, I'm feeling a bit sad because you said something like that, and that's how I understood it. And then the other person might be like, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant, and this is what I meant. Like talking about these things when we're feeling sad and talking about these emotions. If you don't have someone to talk to, if it's something else, like if it's not like you're not sad because someone said something, because it's just something in your life, what I can really recommend, and I say this also every second episode, I think, is to write it down, to journal about it, to get your thoughts to paper, to write down what it is that is bothering you. And then you read it, and then actually you're like, that so doesn't make sense. Why am I thinking that? Why am I repeating these thoughts in my head that's not even true? So that can really help sometimes to write things down and to reflect and be like, this is so not true. Like even when you stress, sometimes we have so much on our mind, like so many things circling around in our mind, that we get so overwhelmed and anxious and like stressed. And then once we put these things to paper, it doesn't feel that overwhelming anymore, and it actually doesn't feel that stressful anymore, because maybe there are only 3 things and that we can easily tick off. Like I'm good at this. Like honestly, sometimes I get stressed because I'm thinking like, oh, the dishwasher still has to be unloaded, the washing machine has to I have to turn the washing on, I have to put new sheets on. That's stressing me, which is stupid, right? And you know what I do sometimes? I put a timer on like 30 minutes, and for example, folding the washing. Sometimes that feels so overwhelming, and I put a timer on 15 minutes for that, and I beat the timer. I can fold the washing in 10 minutes, and it just feels like such an overwhelming task before. So yeah. And then I literally get it done in 10 minutes. And I feel like that's a really good thing to try. So if you ever feel like overwhelmed with household, is that how you say it? Like household things, like loading the dishwasher, like honestly, unloading the dishwasher takes like less than 5 minutes, right? And sometimes it feels so overwhelming. Or cleaning the kitchen can sometimes, when you do it regularly, like 5 minutes, or even, maybe 10. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes when these things circle around in our mind and we're like so stressed about these things, writing them down and ticking them off can help so much. So journaling, or like having like a notebook, is such a powerful tool. Writing things down, getting them onto paper and seeing them, and then being like, actually, why am I wasting so much time worrying about this, or stressing about this, or being sad about this? So Jules can pick up when something's wrong with me. Sometimes we don't realize how we come across, and then sometimes Jules is like, what's wrong? And then I start thinking, and then I'm like, actually I feel a bit like, sometimes Jules says I'm a bit like snappy. So either I'm hungry, like honestly, when I'm hungry I get snappy. Like sometimes when we go out for breakfast, we haven't gone out for breakfast actually in a long time, so I often get up at like 8 or something, and then if we would go out for breakfast, we would go out like at 10 or 10:30, and by that time I have to make sure that I had a snack, because I can literally feel how I get hangry and snappy at Joel's and be like, oh come on, get ready. And then I'm like taking a deep breath, and I go into the kitchen and I make myself like often like have like a peanut butter, or even like a banana and peanut butter, or like a bread with peanut butter, because I'm like, poor guy, like he literally is just getting up and I'm a bit snappy because I'm hungry. But if I'm not hungry, like let's say something else during the day, and Jules might be like, what's wrong? Like, what's bothering you? Sometimes I'm like, whoa, I am actually a bit snappy and I'm not hungry. So what's wrong? So sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, wow, actually, I feel a bit off because I saw something on Instagram today which kind of triggered me and is still annoying me. And that happened subconsciously in my mind. Like, I don't even think about it, but something must have triggered me during the day or stressed me because maybe someone looked more successful, or maybe I picked up a conversation in the supermarket, or I saw people arguing in the supermarket, or whatever. And for some reason, I took that in. And for some reason, I was still thinking about it without knowing. It could also be something that someone said to you during the day, maybe a stranger even that had a bad day. You know, like sometimes some people might just, I don't know the last time it happened actually. And I feel like in New Zealand, it doesn't happen that often. I feel like more in Germany, to be honest. Someone who is just a grumpy person, let's say that, or someone who's just, a grumpy person, and they make like a comment, or they just had a bad day, and then they said something to you, and then somehow you took that in, and then 3 hours later, it still affects you. And then sometimes Jules is like, what happened? Like, why are you feeling this way? And it's so good that he asked me these questions, because then I'm like, wow, why am I feeling this way today or the last few hours? And then thinking about what happened, what triggered me, or like, why am I feeling maybe stressed? And then I feel a bit snappy because, like sometimes it's things like on my mind, just so many things, like I said earlier, like, I still have to do the washing, the washing machine, I have to turn the washing machine on, or whatever. And that's why I'm snappy. Like, how stupid is that? Like, why would I be why would I ruin my mood because of that? Or when I think, I still have to do groceries. Like, why would I ruin my mood, my day, because I think of these things? And I swear that guys don't have that. I don't know what it is, but as women, we just think of all these things. We have all of that going in our mind. And I feel like guys are so much more, that can wait, or like, it's not that important to do the washing right now. I don't know why I feel like it's so important to do that right now. I talked about it with my mum, I talked about it with my friends, like my female friends, and they're like, yeah, we're the same. Or like, you think of all these things that still need to be done. Whereas a guy comes home from work or can just chill. Whereas I sometimes just can't chill because I'm like, we still have to do this, we have to organize that, have to think of what's for dinner the next few weeks because I have to do groceries tomorrow. Like, why? And it's so good to think about these things and being like, that's actually not that important, and it shouldn't really ruin your day or like ruin your mood or like the next few hours. You know what I mean? Just a little reminder next time you feel a little bit off to get to the root and wondering, why is that? And is it really like that important? Is it really your reality? Is it yours? Or is it someone else's feeling that you took on? That's like so important, I feel like. And if it's yours, like if you're stressed about whatever it is, like the washing, the doing groceries, feeling triggered by something that you saw online, feeling triggered by something that you heard in the radio, like something you watched or whatever, then it's you, and you can change that. You can literally change that feeling. You can always change how you feel. But it's also really important to feel those feelings, because feelings are valid, right? But also feelings are a terrible indicator of the truth. I say this again. Feelings are a terrible indicator of the truth. Just because we're feeling something doesn't mean that's the way it is. Just because we're feeling something doesn't mean that's the truth. Because feelings can happen through misunderstanding, so communication is key. Feelings can happen because something triggered you, but it's actually not true. You actually can decide not to feel this way because, like I said, you watch something online and for some reason, let's say you started your own business and then you see people succeed on Instagram and posting about how much money they make, and that triggers you. And then you are feeling like you're not worth it, you're not successful, you are a failure, whatever it is you're feeling. That's not the truth. You are worthy, you are successful, you started your own business, or whatever it is, like whatever. Let's say your mum, I don't know, that's just another example, and you feel really, really overwhelmed in being in motherhood, and juggling everything. And then you see this post where a mum is just so happy and can do it all or whatever, and that triggers you. Or you see someone who doesn't have kids yet and talks about kids like I do, and that triggers you because you're like, she has no idea. Again, you can decide, like, those feelings are valid, but they're not the truth. Like, you can change how you feel. You can change to not feel angry about what that person said, because it's not your reality and it shouldn't affect your being. It shouldn't get you that much. And just because you're feeling something doesn't mean that's the truth, doesn't mean that this is the way it is. Here, I also want to say that feelings aren't the problem. Feelings like feeling maybe lonely, feeling sad, feeling stuck, feeling what else? Feeling stressed. Those feelings are not the problem. Feelings are valid. But the problem is when you don't want to feel that way. I'm going to say this again. The feeling is not the problem, but the problem is when you don't want to feel that way. So here's the thing, like every sad feeling is like suffering, right? So it's not the feeling that's the problem. It's the problem is that you don't want to feel that way. No one wants to suffer. No one wants to feel sad. No one wants to feel stuck. So the problem is we don't want to suffer. We don't want to feel that way. And I think a really important or good thing to do here is to accept the feeling, to be okay with feeling that way, to be okay with okay, I'm feeling sad, but then to find a solution. Okay, I am okay with feeling sad. I'm okay with feeling stuck right now, but I know that this is not the truth. I know that this is not the way it is. And how can I change this? What can I do to make me feel better? What can I do to change this current status, feeling I'm in? Because it's not the truth. It's not where I'm going to stay. I'm not going to stay in the suffering. I'm going to change how I feel because I have the power to do that. Whatever you're feeling, know that it's okay. Once you accept the feeling, once you know it's okay to feel that way, you will feel such a relief. Once you accept how you feel, you will feel a relief because there's nothing wrong with that. We are human beings. We have emotion. How amazing is it to feel all these feelings, right? So just accepting and knowing it's okay to feel that way will take so much pressure off you and will take a lot of relief. Will set you free or relieve you. Is that how you say it? I think so. I listened to, I think it was a podcast or YouTube video where someone explained it as if you would invite all your emotions to a dinner party. Of course, you would invite joy, happiness, courage to the dinner table because they're fun to hang out with. You probably wouldn't invite sadness, anger, because they just don't get along with the others, you know what I mean? So the goal is the most powerful person is the one that accepts all the emotions. The one that accepts we can't just have sunshine and rainbows. The most powerful person is the one that knows there are ups and downs and is okay with that. Because if you're not okay with this, if you are not content with all these emotions, you are always running away. You're always running away from sadness, but it's going to follow you. You are always going to run away from anger, but it's going to follow you. So if you are okay with how you feel, you will feel relieved. You will feel better and less stressed because you accept the feeling. And you know that you can change it. You know that you are the person responsible of how you feel. I want to share a really powerful tool with you, which helps you to create your reality or to question your thoughts. And that is every thought that you think, add a question mark. So every thought will turn into a question mark, and you can answer if it's your truth or not. So for example, your feeling is, or you're feeling stuck. I am stuck. Think this instead. I am stuck? No, I'm actually not stuck. I'm just not feeling good right now, and that's okay. Or when you think I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I am worthy. I'm born worthy. Or I can't do this. I can't do this? Of course I can do this. I can do great things. I've done this before. You know what I mean? Like every time you tell yourself, like every time you have like this limiting belief popping up or like these negative thoughts, add a question mark. Add a question mark is so powerful because you can literally switch what you're thinking and answering it for yourself. And then also think about when you answer those questions, how you would answer it to a friend. When a friend will ask you, am I worthy? You would be like, yes, you are so worthy. You know what I mean? Like, why are we not talking to ourselves like that? So practice this. Every time you tell yourself something you can't do or like tell yourself negative thoughts, add a question mark. It is so powerful. Write these things down. Like whenever you feel like overwhelmed with what's going on inside here, bring it to paper. It will help so much. And if there are negative thoughts, if there are limiting thoughts, add a question mark and answer the question for yourself. We are living in a world where we compare ourselves a lot, you know, like, for example, like I said at the start, if I do this, I can't do that. That's because we saw like someone else doing this and they said they can't do that. And whatever it is, like if I want to be successful, I have to do what that person did. Or if I want to live a happy life, I have to do this, what that person did. You don't need and you don't have to do what other people did to live a happy and successful life, to live your best life. You don't need what anyone else needs. You have to really just listen to yourself. And you have to be, here's the key to a happy and successful life. You have to be okay with yourself. You have to be okay with your thoughts, with your feelings. You have to be okay first. I can tell you like a lot of people are in the prison of their own thoughts. And I experience that in my coaching sessions all the time, in my one-on-one coachings or in my group coaching or in my monthly coachings. We are way too often limiting ourselves because of our thoughts, and it's so important that we change our thoughts. If you want to join monthly coaching sessions, check out the link below. I offer monthly coaching sessions and also little exercises so you can live your best and most authentic life. I want to wrap up this episode today because I feel like there is a lot of important points in here. It's a really long episode, but first of all, your thoughts are so powerful. Don't underestimate your thoughts and don't underestimate what you set your mind to and how you limit yourself. Like I said at the start, if I do this, I can't do that. That is you literally limiting yourself before you even try. That's you already creating your reality. If I do this, I can't do that. That's you already saying this. And it is so important to not do this, to never limit yourself, to tell yourself all the possible things that you can do. It's so important to shift your mindset around that. Also here, I want to say like your emotions and feelings are valid, like your feelings are valid, but they're not the truth. Whatever you're feeling is valid and it's okay to feel that way, but it's not the truth. It's not your reality. You can change that. Also ask yourself, what is triggering you? Like, why are you feeling this way? Where is this coming from? What made you feel that way? And then again, thinking about, is this really my truth? Is this really, do I really have to take this on? Or is it what someone else did or said and it's triggering me because of, I don't know, because of what? You have to figure that out. Also here again, feelings aren't the problem. The problem is that we don't want to feel that way. And guess what? We can change that. We can solve the problem. We can decide not to feel that way by doing things we love, by doing things that will make us feel better, by shifting our mindset. One last thing, add a question mark to all your limiting beliefs that you're thinking, write them down, answer the questions. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you could learn something from it. Share it with a friend who needs to hear this today. Share it with someone you think will get inspired by this. And I hope you have an amazing day.